All right, in this next video, we're gonna discuss how to load a new syringe into our dispenser, and just walk through the calibration, the priming, and then how you might start doing an actual dispensing routine, maybe doing some drops. So we have a syringe right here. We're gonna load it into. So first, we're going to home our dispenser so that you see what the full process would be like. So in the meantime, I can already put this syringe in here, so it snaps in place here. And so we have it there. We can lock it in place with our thumb screws here. And so the first thing we're gonna wanna do is before we get glue or any adhesive or anything on our tip, the first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna calibrate the tip of the syringe. So we'll show that here in a second. So we'll go here to our wire tank TCP cal. We already have a well-defined plane with all the offsets. So now we're gonna just say calibrate TCP. We put a new tip. We're gonna move this to the new position and we'll hit continue. So this will update our TCP. So once that is done, okay, our TCP has been now calibrated with the new tip, and I will just use the joystick here to just go up and go again over here to our little purge little basket here. Okay, so once we have that, now we don't have any glue here. So we first have to couple the syringe. So to couple the syringe, we'll go here. We'll set, a speed here of, let's say, 1500, just so that it goes a little faster, and we'll say extend. And so this will start to extend, and we will meet up with the syringe here. Okay, so we're starting to see that, glue is actually coming out, so we can now couple this. So now that that is coupled, we are able to basically now do a little dispense cycle. So let's say we pick here a something like 400 steps per second, and we'll start with 400 here, and we want to basically extend here until we have glue coming out here. Okay, so now we'll have this drip, and that is the first thing that you want to control in any dispensing system, and that is sort of capillary action for whatever material we are using. And in order to prevent that, this is where the retract is critical. So for example, for this material, I mean, you may start with saying, okay, I want to extend and retract here, and we'll say, 400, 400, and we'll retract an amount of, let's say, initially of 200. And so we will trigger this, and we'll see that, we're still like dripping quite a bit, like the capillary action. It eventually stops, but it's not quite, as fast as we would like. And so what you can do with that is you can say, well, let's start with putting 300 here and see how that works. So we'll do another one. So that's a little bit better, but it still kind of creates little drops at the end. So we can go and say 400 here. And then, we need to then put a little bit more. And you need to do this in a few cycles maybe, so that you get a good idea of. So now that's been able to pull it back up quite a bit. So we'll do that again. And, so that's doing a pretty good job there of staying inside. Once we dispense, you see, we are able to sort of, right now you can see that the actual glue is you know, somewhere up on the tip. So we'll do it again. So, and if you were actually doing this on a paper, like you could, you know, this would actually pull off. So if I were to sort of trigger on a paper and then pull off, then that would, you know, sort of eliminate the drip in the capillary action, because you're sort of pulling it off of the surface. So that's creating, you know, drops that are pretty nice, pretty even. So this is the first thing you need to be able to do with a dispensing system. If you can't generate drops and not drip all over your paper, you know, then you're not going to be able to do a nice dispense cycle. So this kind of pullback, you know, is pretty good. I mean, we may want to fine tune it. So now we'll go into the process of actually, you know, how do you fine tune this? And this is where we will consider the, you know, the drop study. And so let's say we're, you know, a little bit further in here and move this down a little bit. All right, so I have a program pre-written here, and so what this program does is we have an installation variable that right now is set to, we'll set this to 0. This is our installation variable, and this you'll see in a second. This allows us to sort of just iterate on the paper. And here we may want to copy. So right now we were dispensing, you know, 450 and retracting 400. So let's say we do here 450 and retract 400. So I could play this program and you would see that it's going to generate these drops. And you can see that we have nice pullback. So this is the first thing you want to accomplish when you're doing a dispense test. You want to be able to do, you know, a nice sequence of drops that you can control and that you don't have any dripping. And that pullback is critical. I mean, I'm going to show you now. So I'll stop it after these. So imagine now that I put I remove this retract amount of 400 and I put 0 here. I just want to show you what if you don't have this on a dispenser, what would happen. So you're gonna basically just start. So that is how critical the retract amount is. So if your dispenser is not able to retract, you know, that will create a mess. And if we wanted to do, like, for example, we wanted maybe a little bit less, we could do maybe something like 400 and, you know, maybe something like 375. And that will create smaller drops. Now, it's critical that if you do this, so this might not be, that's why you want to do a few cycles on a piece of paper before you're actually doing your process, because sort of that relationship of where the material is on the tip will change. So let me just flip this paper around here and we'll run this now. So you see that first drop, you know, it's going to be a little bit more because we didn't really have that pullback amount, you know, on the tip properly sort of set up there. But you can see that, you know, we have, you know, nice drops without any drip. So this is really, you know, the critical part of the dispenser, and it usually takes a few cycles. So you might want to do this, you know, when you're doing your dispense process, you might have like a sheet of paper on the side where you sort of prime the relationship of the material on before you start your process. So I'll just let it complete here, this next set. And, you know, just to show you how even that stuff is.